Hi, this is Dr. Michael Amster from Warrenton Pediatrics in Warrenton, Virginia. Today we're going to talk about sunscreens. Parents have been much more aware of sunscreens and their value over the last few years. Sunscreens really weren't used when I was a child. We used to go outside for hours when I was a child, and having a thick tan, having that almost dark look was a badge of honor by the time the summer was over. Many of us would even have that little owl look from our sunglasses. And we used to think, hey, look at us, we're healthy, we've been outside, we had a good time, we are strong. And sunburns were not a big deal. You were painful for a couple days, and then things got better. Sometimes you have blistering and peeling, sometimes on the face, your nose, your shoulders, areas that were exposed to the sun. However, what we've learned is that even one blistering sunburn exponentially increases your risk of skin cancer. And many of us who thought that we were so healthy when we were children actually are having many lesions removed and finding that our risk of melanoma, other skin cancers, and other sun-related illnesses has gone up tremendously. Because of this, we've taken a very serious view of protecting our children from the sun, and sunscreen's probably one of the most important parts. Now, everybody worries about the SPF of sunscreen. I've heard parents say, well, mine has SPF 50 or 70. SPF is the sun protection factor, which allows a certain degree of blockage of usually UVA and UVB light, which are the wavelengths which cause most of the damage, or at least so far as we know. While the higher SPFs are very good at blocking sun rays, you really only need SPF 30 or higher. If you apply SPF 30 correctly, and we'll talk about that in a second, it has approximately 95% protection. And that's important. As you go up in SPF, you only gain 1 or 2% additional protection from the sun, which is really not worth getting a higher sunscreen. SPF 30 should be applied approximately every hour and a half to 2 hours, especially if it's hot out and your child is sweating, or if they're going in the pool or the lake, because that will wash off the sunscreen after a time. Furthermore, sunscreen should be applied to all areas that are going to be exposed: the nose, the head, the ears, the neck, and the arms and legs. Many people say, well, my legs don't burn, I'm not going to apply it down there. Well, it's still getting exposure from the sun, and it's important. Tops of the feet, if you're going to wear sandals or Crocs or something like that. One thing to remember also is that clothes carry an SPF, and so you can actually get sunburned straight through your shirt or shorts or hat. And so many parents will actually apply sunscreen all around the exposed areas and actually forget to get underneath the shirt. Now, many children's clothing will actually have an SPF on the label, so you can see, is it SPF 5, is it 10, is it 15? And a lot of it depends on the color and the weave of the fabric. The looser the weave, the lower the SPF, obviously, because more rays can get through. So you want to make sure you get under the shirt as well. You'll make sure you get even areas that might be under a hat. Your child may take off the hat, you may set it aside, or there might be angles where it's more exposed. Now, a lot of people are concerned about PABA, which is para-benzoic acid, which is an additive that used to be in sunscreens. Most sunscreens, especially ones that are marketed for children, have removed this chemical from them. So while it's good to look and make sure that it's not in there, most of the child's sunscreens have removed it. Now, many people ask, well, do I need sunscreen if I'm going to go to the store? Do I need sunscreen if I'm just going to be out for a couple minutes? No. It depends on the intensity of the sun and the length of time that you're going to be out. However, it's important to remember that you can get sunburn on days where it's cold. So even though, especially now, it's springtime and we're not seeing a whole lot of hot weather, if it's a very sunny day and you're going to be outside for a significant period of time, that you want to make sure that you're putting sunscreen on yourself and your children, because their faces can burn even if you're wearing coats and scarves and hats. They're still being exposed to the sun and the rays, and a sunburn is very possible. When I was growing up in Chicago, we used to play hockey for hours and it would be 10 degrees out. And at the end, we would have a sunburn because the sun would be blaring down on us and we'd be outside for hours, and it wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. I got sunburn on a 10-degree day, how could that be? But if you're in the sun for an extended period of time, that can happen. Using sunscreen is one of the ways that you can protect your children into the future, and that's something that most parents want to do. One thing, and I often think of this as sad because I've already moved past this, but 80% of your lifetime sun exposure happens before you turn 18. So most people think, when I get older, that's when I'll be responsible. I'll take care of my skin, I'll use sunscreen, and I'll be very healthy. The problem is that most of the exposure that caused the damage happened years ago. And so one of the things we want to make sure we do is protect our children now so that when they're 20, 30, 40, that they have healthy skin with a nice glow and a much lower risk of skin cancer. They will thank you for it. This is Dr. Michael Amster from Warrenton Pediatrics, Warrenton, Virginia.